Hey, good afternoon, Fargo. It's a sunny yet brisk day out in the Fargo Moorhead community, and this is Jon Adams, and this is Talk of the Town. I am beyond excited for the guests that I have on my show today. As you guys know, I'm over at Davies doing my thing, and I went to the play Young Frankenstein or Frankenstein, depending on who you ask, and I was blown away. I guess I'm going to jump right in. Normally, you guys don't know this, but normally I have like a thing where I do what happened in the past week. You know, talk about the stock market, the price of eggs, all that crap. I'm not going to this time because I'm very excited. I'm going to give these guys the full hour so we could talk about Davies Theater because, as you know, I'm all about giving our young people avenues by which to be great. And I was so blown away by what I saw on Friday that I had a cancellation and I wasn't sure that I wanted to talk about all the stuff that was going on. And it hit me like a thunderbolt. You know what? Let's have these babies that are over here at Davies doing wonderful things. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I know I'm going to butcher their names. They'll be on in a second. But anyway, this is the very thing that I'm talking about in the community. I get tired of people saying, these kids are all they do is they do TikTok, or they're out doing this, or they're doing that. They're just gaming at home. Well, I can tell you, I watched what these young people did over the past couple of weeks. There were 12-hour days. You know, there were early mornings when they would walk in and they would be dead tired, but they still said hello with smiles all on their face. Not the big wide smiles, but they were smiles. And then to go to this show, and I didn't know what roles they were playing. So you have to understand that
My name's Clara Cran.
Claire would come in and she would just be quiet and walk past, very not shy, but just, unassuming. And she, it was so amazing the way she got started. And I got to preface this with I was sitting next to an old couple next to me, and it was just like everything that happened. For the first half hour, I was just amazed at the singing and the dancing, and this poor old lady, I just kept bumping her because these were just guys that walked past me every day. And I got to say, not to take anything away from you, but my man Igor, I mean, that was next level. And one of the things is there's little things that you notice when you watch, right? And down to the girl is scratching your head and you're doing this thing like you're a dog. Yeah. And there were so many little details that's a good production. That's somebody who's into their craft, and that happened with you, and that happened with you. I mean, even the old dude that was blind, even little things that he did that you don't teach, but somebody who's into their craft would know. So seeing all that, it was fantastic. And then to have the orchestra in the pit and the marriage between the scenes, the singing, and the tap dancing. Once the tap dancing was there, I was pretty much, I'm done. This is too much. It's like if the Vikings were to win a Super Bowl. And so I look at this lady, I'm like, this is amazing. And she's like, okay. By that time, I think she was bruised and her husband was worried. But anyway, welcome you guys. Congratulations on an outstanding show. So we'll start to my left. This is Noah. I'll just call you Noah.
I'm Clara.
Clara and Ryder.
It's actually, I'm Ryder, that's Noah.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, this is why you guys should introduce yourselves. See, anyway, so we're gonna just what is it like opening night?
Oh my gosh, the adrenaline is kind of what fuels us. I mean, we've been working for months just to
Right.
perfect our craft to get the show in order and in a good place. And you'd think you're so tired after such long weeks.
Yep.
But once you open, there's a full house. There's so many people waiting for you and depending on you to just give it your all. And you want to give it your all once you see so many people. So I think that's the fun part about theater, especially in opening night, because it's the energy that gets you through the whole performance.
And I was amazed at the number of students that were there. Not just your friends, mind you, because you always have your what I call your groupies. You know, your parents, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents, and then your friends you know at school. But there were a number of kids that were there that weren't part of your group set, and it was wild at times.
Yeah, it was. I think this was the most impactful show I've ever done. Number one, it's the first lead I've ever had, and it was so much of a rush every single night because it's such a different feeling from performing for your directors a million times over tech.
Right.
Rather, when you get out there in front of your first audience, it's such, like Ryder said, it's such an adrenaline boost where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm dead tired, but you have a show to do, and it's just it's such a cool commitment.
And you get into autopilot,
Mm-hmm.
and everything that you practice, it almost gets too easy. And while you're doing it, you're critiquing yourself, even though, and you're like, oh man, I could have done that. And while you're singing, right, you know the notes, you hear the notes, and you're like, oh, that might have been off, but you're singing, and so you had to carry the show, right? Because you were the guy. What's that like to be the? I mean, because if you're awful, they can only do so much, right?
I mean, yeah, it's a really big, thing to take off. But obviously, you have a lot of amazing people that are also on stage with you for so long that they also kind of help support the show and stuff like that throughout the run and stuff like that. So obviously, yeah, it's a lot to kind of be in it from start to finish and not really have a break, but you have people on stage that also continue to support you, that also know that there's a lot going on, and they also have a lot that they have to have in their brain and stuff like that. So it's a big group effort, which is really, really fun.
Right. So I got to tell you guys, I gave you guys all this outline, right? And as we're sitting here talking, I'm going to pivot because you guys know something that new people coming to the theater don't know. When you see new people come in the theater, what are your first thoughts on how to get them to where you are?
I think the biggest part is you have to be willing to just try something. And even if like Ryder, for instance, I have never seen Ryder act that way. I've been friends with Ryder for a while.
Okay.
And it was crazy. In callbacks, it was like a whole nother chapter of who you are. And it was such a cool experience to see you try something, because Ryder's only been with us at Davies this is his first year at Davies, and he just killed it. So I think my biggest advice is to do something crazy, because that is what gets you out of the box.
A lot of it is putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, we have an improv group, and I think improv it works so well for all facets of life, because first you have to think on your feet. Second of all, you just have to go for it, right? Because if you kind of go for it, that shows up, right? What advice would you have for students that are just coming out? Not advice, but you see, like I come in, and you know my personality, right? What advice are you going to give me, when I decide that I want to be a part of the community?
I mean, really, a large part of it is to just not be, going off of what Clara was saying, is to be willing to try new things, because that's so much of a part of it is trying new things, but also knowing that you're in a safe place. Theater and the arts in general is like a very safe place for people to be who they want to be, and everyone is welcome there, no matter your life or anything like that. There is a place for you, and you will feel that love and compassion coming from people. But it's just, trying new things goes so far. Like, especially with this role, there's a lot of new things that I had to try, because I normally play the love interest, and those are pretty.
Is that right?
Yeah, those are normally just kind of the same thing over and over again. But this time around, playing Dr. Frankenstein, there is a lot of new things, new emotions that had to be portrayed while still, obviously having a love plot line. I did have that still in the show, but there is new levels and new different types of things that I had to try, and so you just never have to be afraid to keep trying, no matter what.
And through all of that, you also have to remember your lines and dance, right? And hit your marks. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, how? Now, I liken the theater to a football team simply because everybody has to be on the same page. And my sons, both of them were involved in the theater. And so they came home and they told me, they said, it is unbelievable, because it does not matter what your skill level is. people are encouraging to just do what you can do, you know? And that's that. We don't get that every place. So I'm not, it's funny because I was going to talk about what makes the show go. Because the people behind the scenes, we generally save them to the end because we're going to talk about the cast, we're going to talk about the crew. I mean, we're going to talk about the music, the dancing, the orchestra. But to see set changes come off flawlessly, to see the music being married, I mean, the amount that went in just to that production. So first we're going to say hats off to the tech team. And I don't know what they're called, you know, but
Tech crew.
let's talk about how valuable the tech crew is.
I mean,
Well, Big Game James says we got to pay the bills. When we come back, we're going to talk about the actors' love for the tech crew and their vital role that they play in this because honestly, they're the people behind the scenes that they have to make make you guys look good. To make sure the set is where it needs to be. When we come back, we're going to talk more with the Davies Theater Kids. This is Jon Adams with Talk of the Town. If you want to call in, the phone number is 701-293-9000. Hey, welcome back to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. I almost forgot my name there. I'm here with the theater kids doing their thing. They had an outstanding show, Young Frankenstein, and I'm here with the main cast, Clara, Noah, and Ryder, although that's not Noah, right? That's Noah.
Yes.
Anyway, so going in the break, we were talking about the behind the scenes and what makes it go. What stood out to you about? I mean, I'm sure you guys have been in other plays, but what made this go in terms of what the Tech guys were doing?
Well, theater's always been a group effort. You can't perform with one group without having the other. You can't have a director without tech or tech without actors. So in this case, this is such a tech-heavy show as far as scene changes, set pieces, lighting. Lighting played a huge part in our show this year. And you just really appreciate it more when it's the last week before the show and you see all these things coming together. Tech really makes the show. And of course, everybody makes the show because, like I said, it's a group effort.
Right.
But tech plays so much into the overall vibe of the show, the overall performance. The actors perform, the tech supports it through
Right.
a more realistic tone, I'd say.
Well, I got to say, some of the tech people, they sit in the commons, and I talk to them like, yeah, you got to get out front. And they're like, nah, we're fine where we are. And then I started seeing what they were doing, coming down there and look at the theater. I'm like, oh, they're doing plenty, right? And I think a lot of them have the personalities too, but you gotta want to step out of your comfort zone, right? To be in front of that many people. Your teachers, outstanding. I mean, I get to walk. So just so you guys know, I get to walk through the school and just basically be wherever I want to be. And one of my favorite things is to go listen to the chorus or the choir, or listen to the band or the orchestra, or stick my head in the theater, because it's always something different. They might be playing the same songs, but they mix up the group of kids that are there, and you might find 2 students doing the same thing, and then the next week they add a third. So it's always something different, and I'm always blown away because, first, I can't sing. I mean, I can sing, but I can't sing not like you guys. And so I'm always amazed about that. And acting, I think I could be a good actor, but it might be too much. Then they'd be like, hack, over actor, that type of thing. So anyway, but the synergy between you guys and your music teacher and the orchestra teacher, the band teacher, let's talk about them because they're special.
They're so special.
So I'm not going to ask you guys for your favorites, but I got to tell you, Miss Theater Lady,
Miss Sorry, yeah.
Miss Sorry, yeah. See, I don't remember their names, so they're theater lady, choir lady, and band lady, and so. But I look at them, and their passion shows up every hour of every class. When I'm there, they're into it. I mean, the one, the choir director, she stopped and she went over to a young lady, and they were singing together, and I was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
I think mainly going off of what you said with our choir director, Carly Gradner, is just amazing. She really just embodies everything that music is. She really takes time to connect with her students outside of school, outside of rehearsals and things.
Yep.
And make sure that we all feel loved, because something that's very important to me, and I know all of us, is that we all are together and a family, and she really does make that come true. She's such a wonderful person to work with, and on the music side of things, she's just incredibly talented.
Right.
Incredibly talented, and there's no one that I respect more when it comes to musicality. She's just such a poised person, and I feel so blessed to be under her direction.
All right.
Yeah.
So like I said, Mrs. Sorry, for me, walking in there, she is a burst of energy. Like if I have my low energy days, I can go in there, and it seems like she's always excited to see me. Maybe she's not, but just her energy and there's something about the way that she speaks. She makes you feel like you can.
Yes.
That's like the best way I could describe it.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, just yeah, you could. And then when I wanted to do this, she very excited and just like, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've asked other teachers to do stuff, and they're kind of, but she's always in. Okay, there it is. It seems like she's always all in. And, we say there are no dumb questions. There are no dumb suggestions with her. I sat and I've listened to her and I watched her and people will pitch. I think it's called blocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm like blocking. Okay. What? And so they're going over this with her and she's like, I get where you're going. I get the concept. So, the people behind the scenes, and let's face it, nobody's getting rich in the teaching profession, but I think it's the love and the passion that these teachers have. And then lastly, the band lady, I forget her name.
Christine Streggy.
Yes, you're on top of it. Her energy, the way she moves around her classroom, it's like, holy smokes, And I was talking to her, and she had a teary moment after the show, and we were talking about it, and she got choked up, and I was like, you just see the passion that these people have for teaching.
Yeah.
And given our climate and what people have to say about teachers and schools today, to see that play out in real time after the show is absolutely outstanding. Yeah. So we're going to back up a little bit because I want to find out how you guys got. Well, we'll start with you,
Noah.
How'd you get started? I mean, were you like a precocious little guy and you just acted your butt off, and was it in the stars? How did that happen?
Essentially, yeah. I started doing theater when I was 6 years old. My uncle, who now lives in San Francisco, he used to do theater-related stuff when he lived here. And so, yeah, there was a production of The Wizard of Oz at our local community theater, and he told me to audition, so I did, and the rest is history, yeah. And here I am.
And here you are in a big way. Look, I don't know, maybe I'm gushing too much, but I don't want to say that I didn't have any expectations, but it's opening night, right? At opening night, you got to expect a couple glitches. You got to expect, somebody might fumble over their line or people aren't on timing-wise, you get interrupted. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody's fast or somebody's early or whatever. And I didn't see any of that. It probably happened because you're like, yeah, well, it happened. But the fact that we didn't know it happened, pretty awesome, right? Yeah. So,
Ryder,
how did you get your start in the theater?
I started in 6th grade, so way later than Noah. But I also just participated in a kids' version of Cinderella in the Fargo Community Theater. And since then, I was convinced by friends. I didn't really want to, but I did it, and it just made me realize.
Wait a minute, you were convinced by friends. So you're like, I'm not doing Cinderella, and you went, and that was it. You got the bug.
And I got Prince Charming actually.
What?
It was my breakthrough moment, but it was so fun, and it kind of made me realize like literally anybody can do theater and find some sort of enjoyment in it.
So, would you say that your Prince Charming was better than your Igor?
Ooh, I cannot say that.
That's tough.
No, it does show how much you can improve, though, from like range of acting ways, I guess.
Yeah, the tough thing is once you had a performance like you had, right? All of you guys, and now that's the new bar.
Yep.
But that's also where the pressure comes from, right? But if you do things at a high level, you learn to embrace that. Right? And your long hours and your long days, it's like, here we go, I'm going to nail it, right? And if you don't, you still have your friends that are saying, hey, you can do better, you can be better, but they understand because they've been through it too. So, Miss Carly, how did you get your start? Or is it Carla or Carly?
It's Clara.
Clara.
So I started in 8th grade, so later than the both of you. And my first role was Miss Bucket in Discovery's production of Willy Wonka. And I think that was my breakthrough moment as well, honestly. I just loved that little plaid dress they put me in, and from there I knew that it was really my place. I think I started, though, I've always been a little bit of a goof, and so my parents have really pushed me my whole life to get involved in theater, and I was like fighting it my whole life. I was like, no, I'm only a choir girl. And then I tried it, and I just fell in love with it. Just
never
grabbed
too
me.
late.
It's never too late.
So, it's never too late, but, what does the future hold in terms of, is this something that you guys want to pursue after high school?
That's all Noah.
That's a spot. I just put you on the spot, Noah.
Yeah. I mean, post high school, because it is my senior year. I'm planning to go to school for musical theater, because it is something that I'm very passionate about and want to keep doing throughout the rest of my life, and to do it professionally. And yeah, my job to essentially get to be to entertain people, is what I think is ideal for me.
Fantastic. Well, Big Game James says we're up against the bottom of the break, which means that we have to pay some bills. I'm here with the Davies Theater kids, and we are having a ball talking about Young Frankenstein and everything else that they did this weekend. No, not everything they did this weekend, but the show. So if you want to call in, the phone number is 701 293 9000, or you can email at studio@wdayradionow.com. Welcome back to Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. That's Fiddler on the Roof. Look at these guys. They're vibing out to the soundtrack to Fiddler on the Roof. You got to pull up If I Were a Rich Man. Diddle, 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 diddle. All right.
We'll get that next segment, all right?
Yeah, I
Do
know.
theater.
Hey,
That was really good.
it's what I do. I keep telling you guys. I can't tell you guys all my hidden talents.
Well, we know you play violin.
Yeah, well, not well, but it's down in the basement. I do what I can do every once in a while.
All right.
But yeah, you know. So we are back with the theater kids. Clara, Ryder, and Noah. I feel so bad. I don't feel bad that I don't remember your name. Look, when you get to be my age, there are some things you just go, that's going to happen, right?
understand.
But you guys are here. We're having a good time. I want to switch gears because there's something that happens that people don't, I'm not sure that they don't understand it. You guys are also in the choir, okay? Which makes sense. If you're in a choir, you're going to be in the musical, okay? If theater is amalgamation of all of these things, then it's like choir is the lead off. You know, it's like, hey. And so in my downtime, I like to sing. I mean, not well, not often, but so I've always wanted to know, you guys sing every day? Do you get, I mean, is there a melody constantly in you guys' heads?
Yeah, I would say so.
I'm always singing, like
Always.
genuinely.
Genuinely never
When I'm bored,
stopping.
I'm humming a tune.
Yeah, it's kind of just whatever song I've kind of sung throughout the day.
Yeah.
Is kind of what's stuck in my head.
And see, I always thought that, hey, if I could sing, I'd probably sing all day. And it'd probably make, like, if I'm sad, I could make myself happy,
Yeah.
you know? And then to be able to sing like, well, my wife, by the way, my wife, we will have been married 32 years.
Wow.
Tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Yes, right? Yeah. I
sing
don't
for
know
her.
how.
Yeah, you should sing for her.
I did.
Give a little vocal
Trust me.
performance for her. Yeah.
She'll smash me in the head and say, "What are you doing?
Oh.
Don't sing to me."
All right.
No, I really can't sing. It's not good. It makes people angry.
We'll trust you.
But yeah, so I got off track. Anyway, the choir. So I always thought that if I could sing, I'd probably sing all day. So now you guys are in the choir, and I'm like, you know, what is it like to like sing a duet with somebody or just sing and know when you're watching people, you know that you just grabbing them. You know, you could just see their faces change. What is that like?
Well, I mean, there are some people that the voice is a really interesting thing. There's different tonal qualities and stuff like that, and different sounds that come out. So there are some people in the world that their voices kind of, they don't really have to do anything to make them sound good together. They can kind of just,
Right?
the two can sing together, and
It's you
it
and
just kind of
Ryder.
locks. Which one of those people for me is in this room, and that's Ryder. Our voices kind of just clicked the first time we sang
Really?
together, and we have very similar tone quality, as Grinder would say. So we like to sing duets together in choir and theater and stuff like that all the time, because it's just not only fun to get to do them with a good friend, but also because it feels good and sounds
what
good
is
pretty good.
hard about singing?
I mean, obviously, songs are in different keys, and
That's not obvious
Are-
to me, sir.
there are lots of notes. So there are some songs that are like really high on a person's register. You have
Okay.
like, if there's a song that is high, you aren't gonna want someone that has kind of a lower register voice that
So I like
feels more
Mariah
comfortable
Carey, and
bass.
I can't hit any of those notes.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
you could, but like you could like bring it down to like your register, so it like
Yeah.
sounds comfortable
Well,
and
what
stuff like
fun
that.
is that?
If you want to test yourself,
should-
by all
Yeah.
means.
I
You
mean,
should hear me sing off. key.
Scream
It's
car in the
awesome.
sing,
Alright.
screaming in the car songs is fun.
Well, that's my deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'll know. Hey, pull up alongside of me. I'm singing.
Okay.
Bruno Mars.
Ooh.
Yeah, I sing a lot of his stuff. So, so now competitions. What I see these kids come back from these competitions, and I'm like, how do they tell? Everybody seems to be good. How do you tell whether somebody's better than somebody else at competition?
I mean, this is gonna sound annoying, but I think everybody can sing. It just depends on technique and where you are in your voice register, the notes you can sing. But as far as a competition goes, it's down to technique. It's down to how it's written in the book, your style, your tone.
So talk to me like I'm dumb. What would be technique?
You know, I'm going to give that to Noah just because he's way more educated than I am.
So technique can obviously there are different types of singing. You have like classical, which is more like choiry type of stuff, a more choral sound. It sounds very united, very rich, very whole. But then when singing a musical theater style, there's a little bit more of like a vibrant ping that you bring. You don't really have your sound placed as far back. It kind of places more forward. And it's a little more singing and performing, especially in competitions, can sometimes be really subjective, because you can have someone who thought that person was the best thing they've ever heard in their life, but then you can have someone that's like, it wasn't my favorite, but like that doesn't define that person of they're a good singer, they're a bad singer, stuff like that. And there's just different instances where some things are better fit for others.
Okay. I just, as you were talking, I was thinking, what's the possibility you guys could do West Side Story before the year's up?
Chances are low.
Chances are very low.
Why is that? You only have one play a year or two plays a year?
That's an ethnically diverse show. And
Yes.
unfortunately, our school does not compose of the correct cast members.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
it's
do
a
think
really
it's a
good show, though.
fantastic
If I
show.
remember correctly, most of the original cast weren't ethnically diverse.
Well,
I'm just saying, hey, look at
unfortunately,
you guys.
you're wrong.
You got what?
You're wrong.
I'm wrong.
I'm
Natalie Wood was Natalie Wood was what persuasion?
The show. I'm gonna let you.
Was
So
Natalie Wood
explain-
Hispanic?
I am unsure, but
No,
I do
she
know
wasn't.
a large
I'm gonna let you guys off the hook.
large chunk of picking shows is making
You-
sure that we have the correct
basically, you
people.
have the people that you can
Yeah.
work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you don't want to get in a situation where people say, "Why is that white girl playing Anita?"
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's
a
Exactly.
rocky
it's like,
path.
you know,
Just
It's
to
just a rocky
avoid some
path. Good,
controversy,
well said.
stuff like that.
well,
yeah.
here's my problem: is that I think when we do that, we leave out an opportunity to stretch their range. You know, and if you don't have those people available, then to me it's acceptable. But if you have those people available and you don't give them a shot, then there's a problem.
Oh,
So based on that, you guys get to work on it. It's one of my favorite plays, favorite musicals. So you guys work on that. No, you know what would be better? You guys could do 7 Brides for 7 Brothers.
That's a good
I
show
think
too.
that you
Okay.
would be able to pull that off because there's no diversity there.
all right.
I'm not familiar with that show. So.
You'd like it.
We will
What?
bring it.
Yeah,
we'll
no.
watch.
Sorry.
Are you kidding me? 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Let me tell you
I'll
something.
do my research.
My mom was a musical junkie. And all of anything, Rogers in Oklahoma, plays, any of that stuff. Singing cow, she loved Roy Rogers, singing cow, all of these things. And that's how I grew up, you know, is that all of these shows. Number one, we didn't have Hulu and all these different, we just had what we had on the 4 stations. And then, of course, PBR, PBS, whatever you call it. And so we got to see a lot of that. We got to go to different field trips where we go and watch plays. So also playing in the orchestra, I remember I can play a lot of the songs from Oklahoma even now. Yeah, and you know, Oklahoma, where the yeah. So anyway, look at you were like,
We've got it.
what?
I knew you could sing.
Yeah,
that-
we're here.
No,
to
that
support.
wasn't that. But see that little bit, I can do that. But then if we go beyond that, you're going to go like, that hurt right here. And so, but anyway, all right. Well, there was my quest to have another musical. You guys just blew that up in a hurry. Okay, James. Anyway, can you guys hear him?
No.
No.
I thought everybody could hear you say that. So,
Well, if I go live on air, yeah, but I was just
Yeah.
bouncing in your ear.
yeah, okay, I'm good with that though. He just told me that we're coming up against.
Well,
the
now they
last-
can hear me. Now I'm live on radio.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he threw out the last break.
Yeah.
And so
When I'm
anyway,
in both ears, everybody hears me. Just one ear, it's just you.
Look at that. After 2 years, you learn something new, huh?
The
Interesting.
more you know.
As long as you're learning, you're not dying. That's what I say. Anyway, we're going to take our last break. We're going to wrap it up with the theater kids from Talk of the Town. the theater kids from Davies on Talk of the Town with Jon Adams. If you want to call in, the phone number is 701-293-9000, or you can email at studio@wdayradionow.com. I do not care who you are. You got to love Fiddler on the Roof. Tevye, the whole 9 yards. I think my favorite was with Barbara Streisand, with that rendition. But anyway, I'm back here with I'm back here with the Davies Theater kids, and we are lighting it up. This has been one of the better shows simply because, dude, you guys, there's something about you guys, you know, and it fills the room, and it's been fun. Now, not all the shows that I do are this lighthearted, but it's just been fun, you know. And this is what I say about our community is we have a lot of different areas that we meet the needs of our students, you know. And at Davies, I've said it before, there's a synergy over there that doesn't necessarily exist at other schools, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that I've been impressed by it, and it almost seems like the culmination of my surprise about how well things do run at Davies was this production of Young Frankenstein. And so I was supposed to have the president of Oak Grove on this show, but presidents do get busy. I don't know what he's doing over there, you know, but I know they got a lot of stuff going on, so we're pushing him down the line. But I always say that, you know, God does what he does. And so that guy, he couldn't make it, and 24 hours later, boom, I got the theater kids all lined up, and you know, the administration, the teachers were great about letting you guys, I don't know if you're getting out of school, but great at letting you guys come over here and do this. So first, I want to thank them and the administration for allowing you guys to be on the show. I want to thank you guys for coming because it's not easy to, I mean, well, it wouldn't be hard for you guys, but there has to be some trepidation. And now that you found out that not only is it on YouTube and Facebook, yeah, so any faces that you made, you will see them short. It takes about 15 minutes to upload it to YouTube.
Nothing rude.
Huh?
Nothing mean.
Well, I'm not worried about it. It's your face. You know?
Hey, guys.
But I got to tell you, Clara, Ryder, Noah, It has been fun with you guys. We're going to wrap up here. So it's advice time. This is kind of like when it's your senior year, and you got to write in your yearbook to the masses that will come after you. And I'm going to start over here with you, sir. What advice would you give to students that just anything in general, or about the theater, or about life? So it's this is going to be basically you guys, your life mantra that you would give people to carry on, or
Yeah, I could apply this to life and just theater specifically, but especially coming from a different school last year and transferring to be like the new kid, I guess, it's just putting yourself out there. You gotta express yourself. Even if you're not yourself on stage, you're still performing to your best ability. So that's all I have to say. Just put yourself out there to the world.
And, I always say, like, I coach sports and stuff, and I used to tell all my athletes, if you're going to fail spectacularly, because if you're not going for it, you're probably going to fail anyway. But if you're giving it 110% and you fail, and you crash and burn, you learn from that, right? And a lot of times you learn more from your failures than your successes. So my motto is, hey, if you're going to do it, you go big or go home. So anyway, so we'll wrap up with you, Clara, because it seems like you got a lot. I mean, just the wheels are turning. All right. Go ahead, sir. I should say writer.
Yeah. So, I would.
What? Go ahead, Noah.
Thank you. Basically, I would just say to keep trying and putting in the effort, because you're going to feel more regretful and more upset with yourself if you don't continue to try, versus if you do try and it doesn't go well, you can say, hey, at least I tried it.
Right? And let's face it, that's just about everything. The biggest thing is the stuff that you regret that you never done. And I watched my sons and a lot of things that they didn't want to do. Now that they're older, they say, man, I'm glad I did that. They don't always say, I'm glad you made me do that, but they find appreciation in it later. It's just like I tell you guys don't know what you don't know. Right now, your world is huge. When you leave high school, you're going to go, wow, I really didn't know it. Wow. And then when you get my age, you're going to be like, oh, man, there's so much more I got to learn. So anyway, we're going to wrap up with the talented Miss Clara. I call you Carla that time. So
I think for me, when it comes to theater and life, they just coincide so perfectly, because there's so many lessons that I've learned in theater that apply to my everyday life. And I think that, like, the biggest thing that's stuck with me throughout my theater experience is one time I was really nervous for an audition, and my mom told me they're looking for someone to fill the role, which is so true. Because if you go into an audition, if you go into a interview, they're looking for someone to fill this job, to do this part. And that applies to life too, is everyone's looking for friends. Everyone's looking to have a person. And so if you go in thinking they're going to hate me, they don't like me, they don't want me, they don't want you. So you have to be able to have enough confidence in yourself and believe that these are the qualities that I have to offer, put them on the table and see where it lands you. Because most of the time it puts you in the right spot. That's what I have.
And it is a lot about, I've just learned that over the years that when you fear something, when you do it, it's never as bad as you thought it was going to be. Exactly. And most times it's like, oh man, I was worried about that. Except for when it came to academics, it was as bad as it could be. Especially those days when I thought, oh yeah, I got an A on this. No, you didn't. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I look forward to more productions. What do you guys have coming up? Is there choir concerts coming up?
Soaps.
I don't know what that is.
They're student-led one-act plays. So here we have a director of one of them, but
Can I be a director?
Not anymore. You're not a student.
Oh, that hurts. Well, Big Game James says we're about out of time. I want to thank you guys for coming in. So I guess the soaps are coming up. So that's done. So it's on to the next thing.
Yep.
I want to thank you guys for coming on. If you honestly want to find out what our kids are doing in the community, visit some of these plays. I know South still has a play coming up. North has a play coming up. Let's remember to support our young people. Have a great week. And as always, stay black.